This video is going to talk briefly about the APA headings that you'll begin to use in your papers this semester in my class, and again, probably many of your other classes. So here is my formatted paper that I set up, actually using Word. I won't be using Google Docs this time, but it's the same idea regardless of which program you're using. I'm not going to type my whole abstract here. So what I'm going to do, and this is just for expedited purposes, I'm going to, again, on our tool ribbon, I'm going to go to page break so that I get down to this third page. Now, the third page is actually where your essays will begin when you're writing APA formatted papers. So if you're asked to write, let's say, a 5-page paper, you don't begin counting pages until page 3. So really, a 5-page paper should be at least 7 pages long because you have your title page, your abstract page, and then you begin on page 3. So it's not really that you're writing anymore, but you don't get to include the title page and the abstract page in your page count. So this is essentially the first page of your essay. Now we have our title up here in all capital letters in our header, but remember that could be a truncated or shortened title depending on how many characters are up there. So we are going to start our paper with our title again so that our reader doesn't have to flip back to the title page just in case that is a different title, or not different title, but a shortened title. So there it is. That's how we start. There's our title. Now we're going to go back to this home tool ribbon, and I'm going to go back to the left justifier, line left. Now I've typed my title, so now it's time for me to type my introduction. Notice again that our title, it is title style or title case, meaning that each word is capitalized or each major word. When we start typing the body of our paper, we actually have indented just by using the tab key. That's the best way to indent. And we're just going to start writing our introduction. When we finished our introduction, for your papers in this class, most of your introductions will be 1 paragraph long, but as you move, as you advance in your classes, and especially in your major, you could find that you have an introduction that is 1 or 2, sometimes 3 paragraphs long. Now that is generally for a long paper. If you're writing a 5-page paper, you will not very likely have 2 paragraphs for your introduction because that would be taking up quite a bit of your 5 pages. So just think of that first paragraph here. When we finish, we're going to hit that enter so that we go back to start a new paragraph. Now this is where those headings come in. From looking at your book, you can see that there are 3 headings offered, and APA actually has 5 levels that you can access, but in undergraduate papers, 3 is generally enough, and actually 2 is generally enough. 5 levels would be for some highly technical essays or papers, so you don't need to worry about those. But your book has offered you 3 on page 219, and that first level heading is for your major topics. You can think of these headings sort of as an outline that are letting your reader know what is a major topic, what is a minor or subtopic. Sometimes, again, using that third level, we're going to break it down even more. So it's a subtopic of a subtopic. Again, you probably won't do that very often, but let's just start with a first level heading about a super cool APA formatting activity. So again, I'm going to go back to centering. And this time, if you notice, it is actually bolded. This is the first time that we're going to see that bolding in our paper. So let's say my first level heading is going to be super cool AP formatting activity. I'm going to say the benefits of formatting activities. Okay, that's my first major point. And then under there, of course, I'm going to go back to left justify and unbold, type information about this first heading here. All right, we're going to write a little bit about that. But let's say there's a subtopic about, and if I have one subtopic, I have to have more than one. I can't just have one subtopic. If I just have one subtopic, it's just going to go in that same paragraph. But let's say I have two subtopics for the benefits. So let's say the first benefit of formatting activities is learning the ropes or learning the basics. Okay, so for our second level heading, we're going to see that it is flush left, so it's right where my cursor is now, and it's bolded, and again, it's title case, meaning that each major word is capitalized. So I'm going to go back to my bolding, learning the basics. All right, and now I'm going to take my bold off. I'm going to hit indent, and I'm going to type information about this subtopic here. Okay. Now, remember, if I have one subtopic, I have to have a second one at least two in order to have one. So let's say the second benefit of formatting activities is making mistakes, because we learn from mistakes, right? So not only do these activities help you learn the basics, but they also allow you to make some mistakes without severe repercussions. So I'm going to bold again, learning the basics, and we'll just call this one making mistakes. Well, let's say making mistakes without repercussions. There we go. Okay, so now we have a major topic, which is the benefits of formatting activities. We have a subtopic. We actually have two subtopics, learning the basics and making mistakes without repercussions. Perfect. I'm going to take that bold off again. And I'm going to indent, type, oh, I see I have a typo. Type information about this subtopic here. Well, you guys are seeing all kinds of mistakes that I'm making. All right, excellent. Now, let's say we have another level 1. Okay, so this is another major topic. So let's bold this, and let's call this the limitations of formatting activities. Okay, so we kind of did like the pros and the cons. All right, so I'm going to stop adding this little text here and just kind of show you how we could get to a third level if we needed to. So the first limitation of a formatting activity is, let's just say online instruction, because that's what I use in my class. So one of the limitations is the instructor isn't there to answer questions right away. So online instruction. So that's our level 2 heading, right? Now, let's say we want to have a level 3 heading. According to your book, level 3 heading is indented, and it is also sentence style or sentence case. So we're moving away from that title case. So we're going to indent here. So one of the limitations of that online instruction for formatting activities is instructor presence, or let's say lack of instructor presence. Now, if you notice in your book that it's followed, oh, I did this wrong. My apologies. So see how that is sentence case followed by a period, and then you just hit 2 spaces and you type information here. You know what, I'll go ahead and add this just so that you guys can see. All right. So again, we wouldn't have one level 3 heading. We would have to have at least 2. So we could just we could have another one. Let's say the second limitation of online instruction for formatting activities is students do not actually log in, period. And then I would type information here. And then we're going to go back and we're going to talk about a different limitation of formatting activities. So online instruction is one. The second one is, let's just say, poor textbook. Okay, I think it's a great little textbook. It's a handbook. But let's just say that's the second one. And of course, we're going to indent, type information here. All right, we're going to stop there because we really just don't need to go any further. But you can see here my title. It is unbolded. It is centered. It is in title case or title style. My first level heading is bolded. It is centered. It is in title case. My second level heading is flesh left. It is bolded and it is title case. My level 3 headings, once I get way down here, are indented, bolded, and sentence style or sentence case, followed by a period and the text directly after. All right. A couple of reasons we use the headings in APA papers, as well as some other styles. We see them less with MLA, which is probably what most of you are familiar with. But the first reason is because it really guides your reader. How nice is it to have chapter titles for your DVD, right? For a movie that you're watching. You can skip right to the scene that you want to watch. Same thing with this paper. Maybe I'm not very interested in the benefits of formatting activities. I'm just going to skip this first part. I might just read the introduction and then I'm like, I'm not going to read this whole thing. I just really want to know what the limitations are, right? This is really important. So I can skip right to this section. So these headings actually guide me to the information I want to know. They do a little bit of the work too for the reader or for the writer, so they don't have to transition as they don't have to rely on their writing as much because they're actually guiding their reader by topics with the headings. Another reason that we use this is because as human beings, we're drawn to white space. Think about if this whole paper was just a chunk of text, just a block of text, it would be very off-putting. And we'll probably talk about this in class more often than not. Look at this nice space here, right? There's indents, there's centering, there's lots of space, and we're kind of drawn to those places. So it's just a little bit easier to read. So that concludes the headings for APA. Like I mentioned, probably in this class, you'll stop at level 2. But I always encourage students to try. So if you want to, in some of your papers, move on to level 3, that's okay. Just make sure that if you have 1, you have 2, okay?